So a disease is some sort of change or condition which harms the individual which has the disease. And we can really, when we think about diseases, we can classify them in terms of two different ways. So we can classify diseases as either non-infectious diseases, and that basically means you can't catch them from somebody else. You get them from, that's something to do with your environment or something within you already. And infectious diseases, those diseases, you have to catch it from someone else or something else. You have to kind of get something bad which gives you the disease. So that's infectious diseases, and non-infectious is you can't catch it. But if we look at non-infectious diseases, so that you can't catch, they can also kind of be broken down into different groups. For example, you can get an inherited disease or a genetic disease, and that's really one that's just, it's encoded in your DNA. So you get it, you inherit it from your parents. Another type of non-infectious disease is a nutritional deficiency. So that's really when you expose your body to the environment in such a way that it causes harm to you. So nutritional deficiencies is ones where you don't get enough of nutrition. If we look at an example of an inherited disease, it's all about the DNA that's in you, and we're supposed to have 46 chromosomes in total, 23 from our mum. 23 from our mum and 23 from our dad. So you can see here, there's in fact pairs of chromosomes. So you get this chromosome 1 from your mum, this one from your dad, this one from your mum, this one from your dad, and so on and so forth. So you have all these pairs of chromosomes, and you might have heard before that if you're a girl, you get an X chromosome from your dad and an X chromosome from your mum, and that makes you female. If you're a boy, you get a Y chromosome from your dad and an X chromosome from your mum, and that makes you a boy. But so you get 23 pairs of chromosomes all together. So this example here of all of this DNA of an individual, this is not quite right. So this person has a genetic disease or an inherited disease because just over here, they've got, instead of a pair, they've got 3 copies of chromosome 21. So they've got extra an extra amount of DNA, and that actually gives that person who has that DNA a disease called Down syndrome, and that results in mental retardation and all sorts of developmental issues. But you can actually get genetic diseases or inherited diseases where you've got extra DNA or bits of DNA missing or mutated little bits of DNA. You inherit them from your parents. It's really, they're unavoidable. I mean, you can do different things. You can live very healthy lifestyles, and that will certainly reduce your chances sometimes of getting the symptoms of inherited diseases. But some of them, you just can't avoid it. Down syndrome, if you have 3 copies of chromosome 21, you have Down syndrome. There's not much you can do about it. Thinking about the other group of non-infectious diseases, nutritional deficiencies. So over here I've got an example of, this is a picture of some oranges. That's pretty obvious. But this molecule here, which is sitting on top of the oranges, that's a molecule of vitamin C. So that is a vitamin which we need to grow and live a healthy life. And there's all sorts of vitamins and minerals that we need to function. And if we're missing one of these vitamins or minerals, then we'll get a nutritional deficiency. So we'll get a disease. If you're missing vitamin C, you'll get a disease called scurvy. It results in all sorts of gum issues and teeth issues. If you don't have any vitamin C for long enough, you'll eventually die. But there's all sorts of nutritional deficiencies for all of the nutrients that we need to live a healthy life. So there's some examples of some non-infectious diseases. Some of them are caused by the environment that you put yourself in, so nutritional deficiencies. If your environment, you're not enabled to get just the right amount of nutrients, you'll get a nutritional deficiency. Or if you inherit a slightly mutated bit of DNA, you'll get a genetic or an inherited disease. Now, of course, some diseases are infectious, and that means you catch them some way from somebody else. And by catching it, it means there has to be something which travels from somebody else to you to give you the disease. And these are called pathogens. So I've got a list of some pathogens here. So you can catch an infectious disease if you're exposed to something called a prion. And that's just actually a protein particle. Some cows get a disease called mad cow disease, and that's caused by a prion. So that's infectious protein. So these really small molecules. You would have heard of a virus. So you can also get a disease by being exposed to a virus. An example of that is the flu, or the HIV virus causes AIDS. So there's lots of diseases, infectious diseases caused by viruses. Bacteria can also cause disease. Some bacteria is helpful, but some bacteria will cause disease. A great example of that is meningococcal disease, so that can be very dangerous. Fungi is another type of organism that can cause disease. Athlete's foot, so there's a fungus kind of growing on your foot, which is a bit gross, but that's really a disease, so it harms the individual, or makes the individual worse off. And you can even get a disease by being infected or catching a worm. So worms can live in your intestines, in your guts, and that's can give you, or symptoms make you sick, of poor health. And insects can even live on you, and that's also an infectious disease. So you can get infectious diseases by being infected by all sorts of different things. Some of them are living, some of them are animals like worms. And you really want to try and avoid those things, really. So that's all about disease. You can classify it as either non-infectious or infectious. That's all about disease.